Hey, how you doing? This is RJ. So, for today, what I really wanted to talk about was Marvel's attempt once again to take their quote-unquote progressive heroes, these heroes like Jane Foster's Thor, like Kate Bishop's Hawkeye, like Sam Wilson's Captain America, Marvel's attempt to take these characters and to put them in front of an audience once again, even though their audiences have told them time and time again that no one wants to see these characters. And I wanted to talk about the fact that these characters have not only failed, but they will fail in the future, and they will still continue to put them in front of you. And I wanted to look at the economic reasons for this as well. But I realized that in order to do that, I have to go back to the origins of why they are doing this. I have to go back to the fundamental cause of why they are doing this. And so that's what I'm going to do today, before I get to those other points, which, since I'm trying to make my video shorter, I will get to in my next video. But today I want to concentrate on the causes of why these characters are being put in front of you time and time again. And in order to do that, I'm going to do it in my usual unique way by looking at heroes. And once again, I would say that the fundamental idea of what they think an actual hero is the best example that you could use to understand why they are doing this. So I'll start by saying the following. I recently did a rant video about how, if you wish to be a true hero, you have to be a true hero first in your normal everyday life. And most people really like that video. I actually got more subscribers off of that video than any other one that I have done. But there were a few people who really didn't like that video. And they said, look, you're just preaching now. And if you're just going to preach, you're no different than the SJWs who are putting out this garbage that is in the comics right now. And since I would say I am not like these SJW people who are making this kind of material, since I do not hide from criticism, since I look it square in the face and I answer those questions, that's what I'm going to do now. Because answering that question goes right to the heart of what it is to be an actual hero, both on the page and in real life. So, what is the difference between me talking about virtue, me talking about some transcendent good that virtue reaches towards, talking about heroes as a paragon of virtue? What is the difference between that and these SJWs who are trying to teach people with their idea of what a hero is? Well, I would say there is a very fundamental difference, and it is something that I've talked about before, and it all proceeds from this traditional idea of what a human being is and what a human nature is, as compared with this quote-unquote progressive idea of what human nature is. And I won't go into that again today because I've gone over that a number of times, and I probably will again as well. But that difference in between how human nature is traditionally viewed as compared with this quote-unquote progressive idea of what human nature is, and really their denial that there is any human nature to begin with, that all leads to a very distinct way of how people see the idea of hero, and how people really see the idea of making human life better and how to avoid the things which make human life worse, which traditionally we would call evil. And the thing is that for your traditional idea of what a human being is, what you do both in order to avoid evil and to become a hero is that you make good choices. And that's the thing. These old ideas that I'm always talking about, they all boil down to choice. It is a free choice. People need to make better choices if they wish to avoid evil. And the thing is that since it all boils down to a choice, you can indeed talk to them about what is right and what is wrong, what is good and what is not good, what is heroic and what is villainous. And you can look at these things and present these things. But at the end of the day, it all boils down to choice. Because in order for anything you say to have any impact, the person, the individual person, has to choose whether to accept it or not. And the thing is, you can't force someone to accept what you say. You can't force someone to choose, because that's not a choice. When you force someone to make a choice, that's not an actual choice on their part. And since avoiding evil, being heroic, all boils down to every individual making a choice, if you do something to take away their choice, then the whole thing is for naught. But on the other side, they want to get away from what they would see as evil by again educating you in the right way of how to act. But the thing is that their education that they present to you is not based upon a choice. Not at all. They want to present you one side of the story and one side of the story only, and you will accept it because ideologically they believe it to be true, and there is no other truth, and the best way to get you to accept their quote-unquote truth is to make sure that this is the only version that you get to hear. you don't have to hear anything else. And so it doesn't boil down to a choice. Quite the opposite, actually. It boils down to taking a choice away from you. This is why, from the very beginning, when kids get to school today, they start to teach these children that discrimination in any form is a bad thing. Now, if you look at the actual definition of discrimination, it is to choose between one thing and another. And what these people are actually doing is taking the definition of prejudice and substituting it in there for discrimination. They want you to believe that all discriminating is prejudice. Now, prejudice is prejudging something before you even have any of the facts. And yes, that's a bad thing. But not all discrimination is prejudice. Not by far. Discrimination is simply choosing between one thing and another. And if you look at the word itself, it's derived from another English word, discern. And to discern is defined as to see something clearly. And discern itself is a combination of two Latin words, meaning to separate apart. This is what to discern is. You separate apart. And so what you do when you discriminate is that you have already separated this from that. And you choose this over that. That's all it is. You are simply making a choice. It boils down to, I am choosing this over that because I can clearly see that this is different from that, and therefore I choose this because this is better than that. And that's all discrimination is. But they want to teach everybody that any kind of discrimination is a bad thing. Why? Because they want to teach everybody that any kind of choice is a bad thing. And so you should not choose at all. And the very crafty way that they package this and sell it to people is to appeal to people's selfishness. And they say, look, making decisions is a hard thing. And if you make a decision, you have to deal with the consequences of that decision after you have made it. And being human, you can't always make the right decision. And so not only is making a decision hard, but sometimes it doesn't turn out well, and you have to take responsibility for that. So you should concentrate on yourself, and only the good parts of yourself, and only the good things in life. And since choosing and the consequences of choosing actually make your life a little more difficult, how's about you just don't choose at all? Because why would you choose? Why would you do something difficult? Why would you do something that has consequences? You shouldn't do that. That interferes with your enjoyment of life. Therefore, get rid of it. Therefore, any kind of discrimination, any kind of choosing is something that you should avoid. And, by the way, you can avoid all that choosing by giving us the power to choose for you. This is exactly how they package this mindset, how they package these ideas, how they package this view of human nature. This is how they sell those ideas. By appealing to that selfishness and saying, no, you shouldn't make any choices. Those are difficult. Give us all the power to make choices for you. But the fact is that if you wish to be a hero, you need to make choices. The whole idea, the traditional idea of being a hero, is all based upon choice. As I've always said, for 3,000 years in Western civilization, a hero is a paragon of virtue. And those virtues are traditionally broken down into 4. They are prudence, justice, fortitude, also known as courage, and temperance. And they proceed one upon the other. You have to have prudence before you have anything else. And what is prudence? Well, prudence is correct decision making. That is to say, you need to make the right choices. So in order to be any kind of hero at all, first you have to make good choices. And if all choices have been eliminated so that someone else makes choices for you, you can never be a hero. And you look at other virtues as well. Look at fortitude, also known as courage. What is courage? Well, courage is not the lack of fear. Courage is saying that, look, I am afraid, but even though I am afraid, I still choose to do what is right, and I still choose to put myself in this situation. And that is what real courage is. And so yes, if you wish to be a traditional hero, if you wish to be a real hero at all, whether it be on the page or in real life, whether it be for something spectacular or for something small, you need to make choices. You need to make heroic choices, because these choices, to be just when you don't need to be just, to be courageous when you don't need to be courageous, these choices, these heroic choices, are what makes you into a hero to begin with. And how you get to that point where you make heroic choices is that you become prudent. That is to say, in your normal everyday interactions, you make the right choices. And not only that, but you seek out making a choice, and then you make a right choice. Now, briefly, as I said before, in this traditional system, how do you know which is the right choice and which is the wrong choice? Well, it's really simple. You take the results of your choice and you compare them to reality. If things turned out better than before you made that choice, then it was the right choice, because reality has proven it to be so. If you look at your state after making the choice and it makes your state worse than before you made the choice, then that was the wrong choice. And all of that sounds like a little bit of work. And that's the thing. It is a little bit of work. And that's how these quote-unquote progressive ideas take hold. They'll say, no, you don't have to do all of that work. Looking at your choices and whether or not they actually played out in reality, you don't have to do any of that. Again, just concentrate on yourself. Let us make those choices for you. And as soon as they say that, as soon as they want you to do that, as soon as they get people to fork over their ability to make a choice to someone else, they are stealing from them their ability to be an actual hero. They are stealing from them their ability not just to choose in your simple, normal life, but to make any heroic choices off of those simple, everyday chores of making choices for yourself. And so, how does this all lead into what I want to talk about with my next video, which is why is Marvel taking these characters that no one likes and putting them in front of them again and again? Why are they doing that, even though it makes no economic sense, even though it makes no sense when you look at their fan base? Well, there is a really simple reason why they are continuing to do that. And their simple reason is that you don't get a choice. And the really simple reason not only shows on the page and how they construct a hero on the page, but how they treat you as a customer. Because how they treat you as a customer is the same way they treat their heroes on the page. They say, guess what? You don't get a choice. And it's okay that you don't get a choice. Why? Because you don't have what it takes to make a choice. And it's okay in their minds because, well, this is for your own good. So, if I've given you anything new to think about, hit like. Hit the shield in the lower right-hand corner of your screen to subscribe and leave me a comment. Tell me what you think about all this. All right, I'll see you later. Bye.